What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Dylan here back for another solo video, and today I'm talking about the NFL free agency. In the offseason, there are a few big events that keep us interested in the upcoming season, and one of them, of course, is free agency. Last week, we saw it especially a ton of signings, ton of people going to new teams. Very exciting times here in the offseason. Very happy to see that because there are a lot of free agent signings. One of the craziest free agent periods in a long, long time. And today I decided I wanted to talk about the top 5 winners of free agency. There were a lot of teams that did very well in free agency that aren't going to make this list. Teams like the 49ers, the Saints, the Jaguars, they all had very good free agencies, but I think these 5 teams in particular really helped their team get to the next level for 2018, and I wanted to talk about them first. So let's talk about the top 5 winners of the 2018 free agency. At number 5, I have the New York Jets. The New York Jets went 5-11 last year, which was better than I expected them to do, considering I made a video thinking they could go 0-16, but ultimately went with 1-15. So they went 5-11, but the reason they went 5-11 was because they had a lot of heart. They went out there, they won some pretty competitive games, and they didn't want to be the laughingstock. I mean, they still were last in their own division, but they get some bonus points for doing a lot better than I thought they were going to, based on the talent that they had. That was their biggest concern, was they didn't have a lot of talent. So in 2018, this free agency, they decided they needed to beef up their roster, get a couple of good value free agents, and work with what they got. The first one, the big one that they got, was Tremaine Johnson, the cornerback from the Los Angeles Rams. Huge contract coming for him. I believe it's 5 years, $72 million. That is a lot of money for Tremaine Johnson, but they wanted somebody to help with that. What's building to be a great secondary for the New York Jets. I mean, they've drafted Jamal Adams last year. They've got a couple of people they really want to use in that secondary that I think is going to be very well for the Jets going forward. And then you got some other low-key signings that added to the depth of the New York Jets. First, you got Teddy Bridgewater, 1-year contract. They did also re-sign McCown in this situation, so they have 2 quarterbacks and their draft pick, which I'll get to in a second. Avery Williamson, the linebacker from Tennessee, he's coming in. Very underrated free agency pickup there. I really like the guy. He could be solid for this team. And, of course, they got Isaiah Crowell from Cleveland. Not the biggest fan of him, but whatever. They still need some running back depth. The running back team was one of the worst last season. And the good thing for them is they still have the number 3 pick. They went with the Colts. They drafted, a couple of draft picks went the Colts' way, and they're moving up to the number 3 slot. So they definitely see somebody, whatever they get at number 3, they see the value. And this Jets team, they're looking to improve from 2017. So at number 5, I got the New York Jets. At number 4, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I know some people are going to question me. Dylan, why are the Rams at number 4 if they only got 2 free agents, 2 big free agents? Here's the thing. It's always about quality over quantity. Quantity does not exactly matter when it comes to making this list. The Jets got at number 5 because they helped their roster out with the depth. But with the Rams here at number 4, they got the value, and that's what's getting them over here at number 4. Let's start off with Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib, he's a veteran. He's got a lot of experience. Of course, he's played with various teams over the course of his career. He's been there, I believe, 9 or 10 seasons in the NFL. Of course, in Denver, won a Super Bowl. Last year, his talent did decrease a little bit. The speed got burned out a little bit. But he's still got a lot of talent to bring here. And I think in the Rams organization, especially with Wade Phillips, who did work with the Denver Broncos for multiple seasons, I think that's going to help him a lot. I think he likes that fit for him. And the Rams are very excited to have him there. Marcus Peters, one that we were not expecting to happen. Of course, they got him in a trade rather than signing the free agent. But with Marcus Peters, they only gave up a 4th-round pick in 2018 and a 2019 2nd-round pick for him. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I would get that absolutely. Marcus Peters has the most interceptions since coming into the league in 2015. You're getting a solid cornerback. Why the heck not? The Chiefs were really questioning me during the offseason. They made some good decisions. They made some bad decisions. This one, I don't know. It was just a weird kind of situation here. But I really like this one here at number 4. I mean, they got 2 solid cornerbacks that have either a lot of veteranship or a lot of talent. That can bring the Rams over the top because they did bring some good stuff defensively in 2017. Looking forward to seeing them in 2018. So, number 4, Los Angeles Rams. At number 3, I have the Chicago Bears. The Bears' whole goal in this offseason was to get some viable threats for Mitchell Trubisky, because last year he had absolutely nobody to throw the ball to. Well, I guess he had his running backs, but he had no receivers to throw the ball to. It was impossible for Mitchell Trubisky to succeed in his first year because of the receivers. Even though I don't like the guy that much, it was just flat out insane to think whatever they had last year was going to work this year. So they fired John Fox, got Matt Nagy, and got these 3 guys in free agency, which I love. First, you got Trey Burton. Trey Burton, underrated tight end, of course, the Philly special through the touchdown in the Super Bowl. He did very well in a couple of games that Zach Ertz was hurt and stepped up to the plate. Of course, the fantasy appearances you can hear from Mitch every single day. But Trey Burton is an underrated tight end that I think is going to do well in Chicago. I think they're going to really like him. Taylor Gabriel, we've seen him work in certain offenses, certain styles. I think Matt Nagy is going to take the most out of Taylor Gabriel and use him the most effective way possible. We've seen Kyle Shanahan do that in Cleveland and Atlanta, and I just don't think Steve Sarkisian last year did all that well for him. So this year with a guy like Matt Nagy, I think it's going to work perfectly. And finally, the big free agency signing, Allen Robinson. This was huge. Allen Robinson is a very talented wide receiver that got it done. Of course, he tore his ACL last season, so there are some concerns. But I really, really like the guy, of course. He 2 healthy seasons ago, put up some really, really great numbers that show that he is a top 10 receiver in this game. And the Chicago Bears are going to love the fact because with Alshon Jeffrey leaving last season, there was no real target for Mitchell Trubisky. Now they got a top 10 guy for sure. And the Chicago offense got a lot better in this free agency. So at number 3, you have to go with the Chicago Bears. At number 2, I have the Cleveland Browns. Yes, we can laugh about the Cleveland Browns 2017 season all we want. It was kind of funny, 0-16, the worst season in NFL history. It was really, really bad to see the Browns just fail. But if you're an NFL fan, why don't you want teams to succeed? Why don't you want the Browns to succeed? We want to see good competition. We want to see the Browns actually give some kind of fight. So they went out there and did some pretty good stuff for the team. They went and made themselves not a laughingstock, at least for now, because these free agents are pretty good. You got Jarvis Landry, who was the hot commodity for receivers. He was like, I don't know where I want to go. Am I going to be franchise tagged by the Dolphins? He was, but then goes over here to the Browns, which is good for him. I mean, look at the receiver core between him, Flash Gordon, Josh Gordon, and Corey Coleman. That's a pretty good receiver talent. Plus, David Njoku is the tight end. I'm liking that offense, at least in terms of receivers and tight ends for the Browns. Then you got Tyrod Taylor, who's a very good quarterback, mobile QB. You like the athleticism coming off of him, and I think in the Browns organization, they're going to like him, even if they don't keep him for very long, and the guy that they draft over here at number 1 and number 4 becomes their QB, it's still a nice option. You got Demarius Randall, who's a decent cornerback and is going to give you some depth in the secondary. And then you got Carlos Hyde, who's been one of the more underrated running backs in the last couple of seasons. So I like what the Browns are doing. They're not just lying down doing nothing. And they've got so many draft picks this year. They still have, let's not forget, they still have 2 of the top 5 picks in the NFL draft this season. They're probably going to go get maybe Saquon Barkley, get their quarterback. They're going to want to stock up. They want to make this team good again, which is good for the NFL. We want to see every team succeed and not just fail and go a 1-15 or 0-16 like last year. So glad the Browns actually did something and went out there and improved their team a lot. So number 2, got to go with the Cleveland Browns. And at number 1 is the Minnesota Vikings. Again, this is about quality over quantity. They got 2 of the top 10 free agents this year. No question about it. Let's start off with Sheldon Richardson. He played in Seattle for 1 season after being with the Jets for multiple seasons. It worked. He still had a lot of power. But again, Seattle's defense was very crumbled towards the end of the year, so he had to step up. He did some very good stuff for Seattle. He's been a very good player all the way around, gives a lot of good talent to Minnesota, which already has a great defense. And considering this is a 1-year deal, this seems like a rental. It seems like they have the notion that they want him here for 1 year so they can win the championship. They have a feeling that they can win a championship because they got Sheldon Richardson to talk to Kirk Cousins, and they both agreed on contracts like days after. So they were both convinced with the Vikings plan. And let's talk about Kirk Cousins. 3-year contract, I think it was worth like $88 million. He's getting a lot of money to play for the Minnesota Vikings, but it is the best situation for him. Out of all the teams that were considering to go after Kirk Cousins, Minnesota seemed like the best option because it was the one that was best built to win right now. Out of all the other options, it was like, there's potential there. I can make them a better team, but he was probably going to be stuck in the same situation as he was in Washington. There was never going to be that championship right there for him, and I know Kirk Cousins wants to get past that because Washington was just a black hole for him. So in Minnesota, which just went to the NFC Championship game, mind you, has a very good defense that they're not going to sign a lot of talent back. There's some talent that is going to leave after next season. They want to win next year. They want to go for it all next year. And they went balls to the walls to get both of these guys. And both of them are extremely talented at what they do. They're very good. Like I said, top 10 free agents this year. You got to love it. Kirk Cousins is the number one free agent. So absolutely stunning from the Vikings. They get the number one winners of free agents. That's going to do it, guys. Thank you guys for watching my top 5 winners of free agency. If you guys enjoyed this video, like the video, of course. Comment below, what do you think of these 5 teams? Did they do well? Do you think there's some underrated ones? Are there some overrated free agency signings of these 5 teams? Were they the correct 5 teams? Should there have been another team in here? I almost considered putting the Titans at number 5 because they got Malcolm Butler and Deion Lewis, but I said that the Jets' quantity that they got for adding their roster, I know quantity over quality, that kind of sounds hypocritical, but for what they did for their roster, it gets them over the hump at 5 compared to what Tennessee did. So if you guys enjoyed, of course, like it, subscribe to the Bottom Line View. We're almost at 4,400 subscribers. We're building to the next level, and we're trying to get there as soon as possible. So if you guys subscribe, that would help us out a lot. More NFL content on the way. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't know the Bottom Line View.